How about you formally introduce yourself to everybody?
Hi everybody, my name is Lulah Nokwanda, but I go by the name of Lulah Blue on my podcast FOTT TV on YouTube. I am a third year media studies student at the University of Witwatersrand, a former UFS student who is studying chemistry. I think that's a mouthful. I think that's a mouthful. But yeah, basically that's who I am. I write short stories, only have a couple published. And I also write poetry, but I've only been comfortable to perform one poem. And I think it's one that we actually are going to have on the channel later on. That's the only poem that I'm comfortable with performing. The other ones, I'm a bit skeptical about them. Yeah, I'm very outspoken. So as you can see, I'm already talking a lot.
Yeah, plus whether you already have your own channel, you already used your camera ready and all of that.
Kind of, but I do get nervous at times. Because, different settings, different people, different energies. You never really know what to expect. Some people come to your podcast and they already know things, or I think at least maybe they think they do know a lot of things than you do. And they know more about your channel than you do. Yeah. So it's just like, not knowing whom you're going to meet next and whatnot. And also the element of surprise, because you may have people figured out wrongly. You think you know someone, but you don't. They're actually greater, meet the standard, or go below the standard that you've set. So, yeah.
So how about you tell people a little bit more about FOTT TV? The page, the podcast, what it is you're trying to achieve with it, and the type of people that you tend to talk to and all of that.
Great. FOTT TV. Let's start with the spelling.
Yes. Yeah, let's start there.
Let's start with the spelling.
FOTT or...
I think the pronunciation, I made it up. I'm like, okay, I want it to be FOTT TV, and I want it called FOTT TV because I don't want it to be an abbreviation. I want it to be an acronym. So I'm like, okay, fine, it's going to be FOTT TV. So and I figured that there was something called FOTT that is spelled FORT. I don't know what that means, but a lot of people, when I tell them, please subscribe to my channel, what's the name of your channel? My channel's name is FOTT TV. They were like, FORT? I'm like, no, not that FOTT TV. And also, I used to tell people that when you want to subscribe to my channel, type FOTT and make space and then type TV, then press on the search button. Because if you wait for it to show up, it might not show. Because a lot of times when you type that name, a lot of football stuff shows up. And that is one of the things that I didn't think about when I was coming up with the name. I could have gone and searched, but I did do some research and I found out there was another channel that had the same name, but it actually stood for something else. It was also an acronym for them, but it actually stood for something else. When my acronym stands for Folds of the Tales, because I figured, when someone is like, let's unfold the story. Of course, meaning that as the story was happening, it was folding. So now we have to reverse, rewind, break everything down and find out what it means. So I was like, okay, let's make it Folds of the Tales, because tales, just being in the element of storytelling or loving the whole thing of storytelling and narrating and understanding that everyone has a story, either good, bad, or not necessarily interesting to you, but it is a story and to them it matters. So I was like, okay, fine, let's have people come and tell their stories. And at that time I was surrounded by very inspirational young people, because my friend I was staying on the 17th floor. My friend who was staying on the 15th floor had applied for the scholarship and gotten it. So she grew up in Ekasi. So she was talking about how it's something she never thought it would happen to her, and whatnot. And then I was like, why would you think it's not something that can happen to you, And then she told me the whole story of how she grew up, her dad passing away at a young age, her mom and everything, And I was like, that's quite interesting, And the world can learn a thing or two about that. And at that time, I actually didn't know that you can apply for such scholarships, and actually go and study abroad. I was so surprised. I was like, why is this kind of information not reaching us at the Makayas? Because I'm from rural KZN. I'm like, let's let me, someone from the Makayas, whom other people are going to relate to, other people are going to relate to, tell such stories, have a platform to tell such stories, because people are going to click and say they want to support me and end up benefiting through getting this information, right? So there was that, and then there were house committees that were doing so great. Those young people that were in leadership positions, making us sing, dance, planning all those events for us, and I was like, these people are doing so much, and they're not only doing that. Some of them were studying mathematics and juggling mathematics, being a poet and being a house committee member. I just thought that was a lot. That was beautiful. How are you able to manage all that? Share those tips, And there were other people. So like the people that I'm listing are people that are actually on my channel. So, and there's another, my friend's roommate. She's my friend now, but at that time she was just my friend's roommate. She also had been the first head girl at a formerly white-only school, the first black head girl at a formerly white-only school, and she had been the first black head girl at a formerly white high school, because there was primary and then high school as well, and then she had been in pageants and whatnot, and I was like, girl, you have stories for days. Come share those stories on my channel. So I set up, with the help and of a couple of friends I spoke to, which is very useful. When you have, I think it's important to have like-minded people who are very optimistic in your life, people who see things that are not there, that are not visible, like tangible, but they see it because they are able to imagine it and understand your thinking patterns and whatnot, and kind of like encourage you to start. Because I remember the day that it clicked in my head that I really wanted to set up this channel, I went to my friend's room around 5 a.m. to wake her up and tell her my idea. Yeah. And she was so sleepy, she was so tired. I'm sure that day, if she could, she would hate me. Yeah. And maybe in that moment she did. And I was like, wake up, I have this idea. I think it might be big. Can we talk about it? She was so asleep. She's like, yeah, tell me, what is that? And then I narrate the whole thing, and she's like, it's a good idea. I'm like, you can go back to sleep. I have my answer. I had my answer. That's all you needed. That's all I needed. Yeah. And it was more like a green light, to be able to start this whole thing. And I think it was important to get sort of like a go-ahead and approval from her, because she was one of the people I was thinking about when I was thinking about the whole idea of setting the whole channel. So I needed her to say she's game, she would do it, so that it was easy for me to say, this person has this great story, they have come and shared it, you can come and share your own too. So it did, and reaching out to some house committee members who agreed, it made me so happy. And from there, I've just, as a story writer, I've just been writing my own stories, but then making time to sit and listen to other people's stories as well. And I love a true story. So yeah, that's what the channel was initially about. And then not that changed, but it grew, it became more than that. So I entered a competition, like an entrepreneurship competition. I was like, I have a dream to make it a show one day. Let me enter this entrepreneurship competition and see where it goes. So I entered this entrepreneurship competition in my second year, and I did not win the competition. Just want to put that out there. My business plan was bad. Let's start there. My business plan was bad because the figures were not making sense, right? There wasn't much that I had to say on the business side of things, like in terms of, okay, if the investors give me this amount of money, I will be doing this and this and that to bring in profit, so that the investor might see that them investing in me is good, because then I can make profit and then I can grow and also sponsor other small entrepreneurs and whatnot. It needed to make more sense, monetary sense, right? So financial sense, others would say. So yeah, there was that. But overall, they helped me to with the business plan. It was fine. It's just the finances were really a bit off, right? And the idea, a lot of people during the competition said it was a good idea. However, those who did not win the competition, it's called the ADHE competition. It's InterVarsity Entrepreneurship competition, and 27 universities in South Africa that are public universities get to be part of that competition. I think it's actually running now. It hasn't reached its final stage, but for those who would like to apply, they can actually apply next year when it opens. And such information you can get from my podcast, because I usually just post, there's this competition, there's this entrepreneurship opportunity, there's this seminar, there's this and you can attend those things. But just reverse a little bit back to that competition. So during that competition, I got a mentor, and he's a UJ professor. He's a professor at UJ. He helped me a lot with repurposing, or should I say, having like a clear idea path of what the channel can be about. Because I used to say the channel is about anything and everything affecting people. So that can be anything really. So you never really know what to expect. Yes, what to expect in the next episode. But I was getting like quite a number of views. People were viewing they were very supportive. So it was good. So I didn't think that I needed to focus on a very one thing, right? So I was like, okay, fine. So my mentor advised me to think of the major topics that have gotten even the most views that people are interested in. So I found out that it was entrepreneurship and leadership, and I attended a lot of entrepreneurship and leadership events. I even trained for house committee last year to become a house committee at a Wits race. I trained for that. Thank you. And I'm currently a house committee member at where I currently stay, but it's an off-campus resident. And I sit a lot in those entrepreneurship spaces in terms of like if they're having a seminar, if they're having a masterclass, even if it's online, face-to-face, because there's this there are these programs that are being run by the University of Witwatersrand that offer students, an opportunity to learn entrepreneurship-related, things. So I figured I could use all the knowledge that I get from these classes to educate other people and better their businesses as well, and so that they do not fall under the same trap that I was in, where I get to go and pitch such a big pitch, and I have everything right except my finances. Like, what do you mean? You're coming to pitch to get funding, but your finances, you don't have your finances right, And then I figured out that there's a lot to business. It's quite an interesting topic to dive into. There's so many aspects, there's so many nuances, nuggets, small things that people don't really pay attention to, but that are very important. Like, for example, did you know that the local Pick and Pay has a small Jacobs just because it is close to students? And they offer that small version because they know students usually just don't afford the bigger pack. But if you go to maybe a bigger Pick and Pay, somewhere where there are a lot of shoppers, you may not find the small Jacobs, stuff like that. But you get in the store, you see it every day, but it never really resonates with you. You never think about it in the sense or the purpose behind it. So I wanted to understand many things behind the scenes as to, okay, fine, I see you arrange the sweets here and the fruits there and the vegetables there, but why did you do that? Stuff like that. So I figured another way of getting that information across to others, young entrepreneurs and leaders, was to have young leaders and young entrepreneurs do it. So I started inviting my colleagues from these entrepreneurship classes, from the entrepreneurship competition, to just come and share 5 tips on something, 10 tips on something, just, their journey, how they got to start the business, because people are owning brands, people are working in the media industry already now. Really, they already have ways to get in. Others have businesses. There is big companies that make a lot of money. There's even this owner of Liebex. I never invited him to my channel, but we were sitting in the same spaces at some point, and it's a $1 million company, not million rands company. You see, stuff like that, and I was like, this is quite useful information, and other young entrepreneurs can learn. So let's have more entrepreneurs. So I have more entrepreneurs on the podcast than leaders, but then obviously they get to share social issues that impacted or led to them starting their business, which brings back that aspect that was the initial reason behind me starting the channel. So we still also get to dive into social issues and whatnot.
You're putting in that work. You're putting in that work, and it's good because you're helping other people as well while doing that,
and helping myself. You don't get to sit with someone for an hour and not learn a thing or two. As much as you trying to get the information to give to other people, I'm also learning, because some of the things I'm like, I never thought about it like that, and now I know. It's crazy because I think it was it yesterday when my uncle wanted me to get him someone who can draw a floor plan. And I just posted it on my WhatsApp. I'm like, I need someone who can draw a floor plan. The number of contacts I got from those contacts that I have of people who can do floor plans, I'm like, this is crazy. And I sent to my
got those
uncle,
connections now.
and he's not like, are these your friends? I'm like, the people whose numbers I gave you are not my friends, but the people who gave me those people's numbers, those are the people that I have in my contacts. And it's like, you're so well connected. I'm like, if you say so, then I am.
But of course, meeting all those people, you have to make some connections.
You have to make some connections. And even when I'm working with my friends, they're always complaining, you're such a social butterfly. You know everyone. We have to take an hour just to walk, to go to somewhere where we're supposed to take 10 minutes. Because now everyone's just like, hi, Lulah. And I'm like, hi, Miss Blue. Yes, guys, how is it? You know? And it's nice. I love it because I can never be alone anywhere because I know so many people and it helps. And I want to know more people. Yeah.
But like now, when you're pushing that type of frequent content and you're interviewing all of these people, how do you manage to balance that out with like the schoolwork that you have to do and your own personal commitments as well?
That is very important. I love things. I think it's important to say that I love things.
Yeah.
So
What are things?
by things, I mean like going out, exploring life and space. I always tell my friends that I don't want to live in Bram and have someone tell me about something that is in Bram that I don't know, but I live in Bram.
Yeah,
Don't
except
tell me
getting
about
robbed,
a street that I
except getting
don't.
robbed and all of that.
Yes, except that, because that's crazy. But I don't want you to tell me there's a street in Bram called Jerison and I don't know where that street is at. I stay in Bram, I should know that, you know? I don't want to come back. I want to come back here in like 5 years and say, this wasn't there, that wasn't there. Okay, this changed, you know? I want to be very well aware of the place that I stay at and its surroundings as well. So I'm not going to stay indoors. So yes, it brings back brings us back to your question of how do I balance that part of myself that is Dora the Explorer, and school, and then podcasting. Because with podcasting, it also comes with its own meetings as well, because I'm part of the YouTube Made For You program where we get to have to upload shorts. We are actually supposed to upload at least one short a week. And there are weeks where I don't even upload a short because things
Where
get
do you
to
upload
be
it,
too
like
much.
on your channel?
On YouTube.
Okay.
So sometimes things get a lot, and one of the requirements to stay in that community is by uploading a shot every single week. And other weeks I'm just like, because yes, it does get too much. But I know that my biggest priority, the reason why I'm here in Johannesburg, is my academics. And everything else has to come after my academics. Even a social life, even friends, whatever comes after my academics. And since I found this baby that is 2 years old now, my podcast channel, and that is also a very important baby because it's contributing to my building of connections, my career in terms of being able to sit in front of the camera and even the behind the scenes, the editing and whatnot, contributing to my growth. So that's also very important. So my priorities rank school, FOTT TV, then everything else. So if there's something that requires me, if there is FOTT TV and something, like this, I said I'm going to release the podcast interview on Saturday, and then I have something that is due, schoolwork that is due on Friday. I'll submit the schoolwork first. Then I'll work, if I still have energy to work, because I still have to take care of myself. I still have the energy to edit the video, I'll edit it and post it on Saturday. But if I don't, I can go MIA on FOTT TV, and then I can come back and say, I'm sorry, I've been away. I'm going to bribe you guys with a video.
I'll be there, I know.
With a video. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it. Because my priority is Wits. Wits costs a lot, bruh.
It's expensive?
It's expensive.
You could probably buy a house with that money.
And a car.
Yeah, and a car.
A car. So you cannot afford to compromise your academics. So as much as you want to balance things, I believe in prioritizing more than balancing. So if my academics need my immediate attention and maybe all of it, then it gets all of it.
They'll forgive you. The subscribers will forgive you.
They will have to. And people unsubscribe. Crazy, but people unsubscribe as much as it hurts me. But they have their reasons, and I respect them. I would like you to stay, but if you feel like I'm not fulfilling your needs and you have to go, you can go.
It's alright, but you'll be back. You'll be back though.
Hopefully you'll be back.
Yeah.
Hopefully I convince you otherwise and you come back. So yeah, school first, then FOTT TV, then anything else after that.
Okay, so I heard you speaking about you went to UFS.
Yes.
Before you were at Wits.
Yes.
Do you mind just telling us a little bit about that journey and all of that, if you don't mind?
Great. You know that LO textbook, especially those chapters about transitioning from high school to university. Those chapters are very important. We take them for granted because we're like, LO is easy.
LO.
Everyone's going to get a distinction in LO and whatnot. It's very important. It's very, very important. You know, I used to underestimate how difficult the transition is going to be until I was transitioning. And I saw it's not nice here because I moved from rural KZN, right?
Where's KZN from?
Escort, a small
Escort, yeah.
town. It's a
Okay.
small town called Escort. My mom likes to say it has 2 streets. I'm not sure about that, but I think it does. I think it does. So it's that small. It's that small. We don't even have a mall, bro. We don't have a mall.
No mall, no complex at least.
When you arrive,
Just Pakistan shops.
okay, we do have Boxer and ShopRite and whatnot, but
At least.
it's small. It's very small. A lot of things are not there. I'm sure people there, the ones who have Wi-Fi are like really considered really rich people because we don't get to have Wi-Fi shops and whatnot, except KFC. KFC is so kind. Anyway,
Yeah, they're everywhere.
look at me marketing KFC. They're not paying me.
Yeah, they're not yet. They'll pay you.
Yeah, maybe in the future.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that I underestimated the transition, and the transition was very hard on me. Very, very hard. I remember after I went to my first physics class, and at that time at UFS, they still had this whole thing of mixing Afrikaans and English. I don't know if they still do it now, but it was
Some
in
universities,
2019. It was 2019. They would even give us our papers, our exam papers. That one side was written in Afrikaans and the other side was written in English, and I just thought that was unfair. Because what if the ones that were writing physics and Afrikaans, I thought they had an advantage because it's their home language. Some of the things they know them, and then they tell me something like a word in English and I don't know it. Why being a part Zulu so that I can at least translate it and get it in Zulu, you know? In Zulu, so that I can pass, because no one is here to fail, you know? So yeah, the transition was hard, and obviously, we went to physics class. I remember it was my first class was physics. We went to the new physics building. It's such a beautiful building. It was nice, and they kept the AC on. Like, it was very cold, and all the white kids did not have their jerseys, and I was freezing. and the lecturer was speaking about the course, doing the course outline, and then he made an Afrikaans joke, and those who could hear Afrikaans laughed, and I didn't hear it. I was so annoyed. I felt so excluded. It was my first day, but already I thought I was going to have a hard time. I believed in that moment, my life in this place is going to be hell. And then I went to my room. I remember by the end of the first week, I had called my parents at home and called my uncle here in Joburg and told them I want to go back home. And do you know what my uncle said to me? My parents are like, no, stay there, you'll be fine. It's just, you'll transition better and whatnot. You get used to it. Spend time with your sister, because my sister was already studying there.
Okay.
Which is one of the things that actually encouraged me to go study there, because I knew my sister's going to be there, so I wasn't going to be alone. Yeah, but she was not staying at the same race as I was staying, so yeah, fine. So I called my uncle crying here in Joburg. He's a principal in one of the colleges in Springs. And I told him, Malume, I want to come back home. In fact, I want to go back home, because he stays here. So I explained, I said, I want to go back home, and I feel like my parents are not understanding. And he asked me a question that took me 3 years to answer. Crazy. He asked me, if you go back home, right, what do you want to do? Because that means you're not doing this course anymore, BSc in chemistry and biochemistry. If you go back home, what is it that you want to do with your life? And I thought, yes, I applied to so many universities for different courses and whatnot. And it's not the course. I think it's not the course. It's just me. I'm not ready. And he says, if you're not ready, do you think if you stay at home for this year and the following year you'll be ready? I didn't know. And I was scared.
Yeah.
I was scared because my sister was doing her second year. And my brother was pushing in high school. And my younger brother after that was in primary. They were busy with something. Staying at home, University of Chiganilanga, never. I thought about it, I was like, nah, it's not happening. And he even asked me, if I wanted to work in a retailer, like in a retail shop, if that's what I planned to do. And the reason why he asked that, because the previous year, like as I was waiting for my results in 2018, in December, I was working at Boxer. So I was till pack, cleaning the shop and whatnot. And we got some money, but it wasn't a lot. And I thought about it. Really suffer for such low pay?
Yeah.
What exactly do I want in my life? If not this, then what? I didn't have an answer until 3 years later.
3 years.
It's about to be a Nigerian movie in here.